What's going on, everybody? Paddle and Fin has got a meetup going down October 16th through 18th at Eastport Marina and Resort in Alpine, Tennessee, which falls right on Dale Hollow. What we're going to be doing is just hanging out, fishing. Depending on the number of people that show up and the interest, we may do a small tournament. We will have some stuff to give away. Saturday evening, we're going to do a hangout and a little barbecue action. We'll have food for everybody. If you're looking for lodging, you could stay right at the resort. It's $50 per person per night. And what you get is your own personal bedroom on a houseboat, luxury houseboat, courtesy Eastport Marina. That's a special price they gave us to lend to our listeners. If you want more info on the resort, you can go to eastport.info and their website will pop up there. You'll see all the houseboats and things like that. A majority of our hosts are going to be there, and we would love to spend some time on the water with you.
This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Let's go! This is the Chasing the Tide Saltwater segment on the Paddle and Fin Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols. So come along for the saltwater shenanigans.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Chasing the Tide Saltwater segment here, part of the Paddle and Fin Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols. Tonight I got a special guest with me all the way from the East Coast, actually the northeast part of the country there, and out of Atlantic City. I got Mr. Robert English in the house tonight. What's up, man? What's up, my brother?
Not much. Just sitting here doing a podcast for my first time and hoping not be crazy about it. And
it's all good, man. We're just gonna go with the flow, man. You know, just have fun with it, man. I just wanted to get you on board tonight, man. I saw an episode of Field Trips. You know, he's a Texas guy himself, Robert Field, on his little YouTube channel. I saw you on an episode there, and I was like, man, this guy seems like an interesting cat. I think I'm gonna have to get him on the show and see what's going on, and get somebody from a different region and talk a little bit about their area. You know, compared to, you know, we'll compare what I fish in Texas and what I fished back home in Georgia, where I'm originally from, and we're just going to get a little more info on you. So if you want to start out the show right now, just tell everybody who you are, a little bit about yourself, and, you know, background in fishing, and what led you to jump in that plastic boat.
let's see. Shoot. I grew up outside Atlantic City, grew up by a lake. So I spent every day just walking around fishing, throwing red devils and frogs for pickerel. Just that's all I did. That's all. When I was a little kid, used to fish.
Yep.
As I got older, kept doing the same thing. When I really started to get into it was I started spending summers with my grandfather in Florida, down in Venice. We fished golf. All those back bays were trout.
Yes, sir.
He pretty much taught me everything. He's making his own rods, making his own jigs, doing that kind of stuff. And I think that's a lot of what I do now, with to just fish. The guy fished so much. I got one of his notes, his notebooks, and it's like reds. 35 here, 40, like just the amount of he took of procedure to find everything he was trying to do and keep track of everything.
Yeah. So he had he kept track of his own. He had his own logbook, written, which is what I was taught to do.
Handwritten.
By my granddad. My granddad had the same thing. He'd write the tides, he'd write the wind, he'd write the temperature, he'd write everything down. Those low conditions at that location, where I grew up in Georgia, and it's the same thing. You know, that's I share that well.
Yeah. Now for us, it's all you do it on the iPhone. You get your winds, your tides, how many fish you caught.
Oh yeah.
But that's what got a big start, and that's stopped for a little while. I moved to close to AC, so I'm 5 minutes from the beach. You got anywhere you fish, you can drive anywhere and just fish right around here. Did a lot of surf fishing, boring as hell.
Yeah.
Sitting around throwing weighting baits or just walking up and down the beach. One day I'm like, I need a kayak. I want to buy a kayak. So in 2016, I think it was, I bought a used kayak. That night I caught more fish than I've ever caught for 2 years surf fishing. just get to where you want to go. Getting to the fish, that was the biggest thing.
Yes.
Getting to the fish.
Big time. That opens up your range so much more. That was a big plus for me, was being over here. I'd fish when I was going to surf at different beaches, and you can walk in and wade. And the thing with me was like, man, I got to cover more water, and I don't want to buy a boat. I don't want to buy a boat. At the time, I had a little hatchback. I wanted something I could have racks on it and just throw a kayak and go. So that's what led me into it, 7, 8 years ago myself, was just getting started and getting into that and cover more water. Yes.
Yeah, the pickup truck, just throw it in the back of the pickup truck, drop it off, go. My first, actually until the last 2 years, I had an old Dodge pickup truck, put the kayaks in the back, and that's what I drove back and forth all the time. Through the summer, winter, worst thing is getting out of the water. So the water's 38, 40, air is 32. Fishing at night, middle of the night, and then you get back in a truck, old Dodge, no heat.
No heater. Got a heater cord bypass, was it leaked? Or...
Yeah. And it was deleted.
Yep.
You got to drive back home, still cold. Now I just got a new car, so you can get in your car and hit the little button on my phone and get the seats heated up and stuff, which is nice. But
get them heated up and ready to go. Yep. Yes, sir. Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool having the same kind of startup with your grandpa and everything, man. That's awesome. Yeah. The old log books, like you said, it's a lot different now. You got your phone, you got the Fishbrain app, you got the Angler app, the logs and tracks pretty much everything in that that you put in, and pictures and gear. There's some cool stuff out there for that too, that to keep track of everything going on, that you're the base you're using, the conditions, barometric pressure, weather, patterns, and everything like that. Because I feel that plays a role.
It does a lot for me, because what I do is I'll do screenshots on my fish finder of the fish. I'll get that. I'll upload that. I have shots on my phone, my GoPros, and that kind of thing. Yeah. And I can look back through my phone on the computer and be like, oh, well, there's this date, this date, this date. That's when this was going on. This was going on. Like I went out last 3 days ago. Stripers everywhere. It's just bait everywhere. For us, it's peanut bunker. Peanut bunker all over the place. Stripers going to the peanut bunker. Just fishing the bridges at night. Yeah. You get the fish smashing all top of the water, going crazy. And it's hard because you see the fish all over the water. Like, oh, I want to cast at those guys. Well, they're the little ones. The bigger ones always on the bottom. I'm fishing 35 feet, 40 feet of water under bridges. Yeah. And then you're casting jigs up into the bridge, just off the bottom, and just get that thump. It's just waiting for the bigger thump.
Rip it back up. Bigger thump. Get ready. Yeah, that's how it is here. We'll get like the birds get a rally, and they'll have the trout, a schoolie trout, will have a bunch of shrimp all pinned up on top of the water. The birds will be. So you'll haul butt over there to the birds, paddle, torpedo, however you can get over there. Yeah. And then you're like, you want to fish the outside edges of them. You want to fish the outside edge and get a little bit deeper to get the bigger fish that are around there picking up the stragglers. And that's the same kind of concept. Them all hyped up little small ones are going aggro on everything, and then the bigger ones are just cruising around waiting for that that easier meal.
Bigger fish or lazier fish. They're sitting at the bottom. They're just waiting for something to come across their face, and that's all they want to do.
Yeah, they're opportunistic. So something swims by them, they're going to hammer it. So you put that little swim bait or little jig or spoon, bouncing it down around some structure, they're going to slam it. Yes, sir. So so when you first started kayak fishing, did as far as like what let's call it kayak progression, how you started out in something. I started out in a little old Perception caster, 12.5, little sit inside, wet butt, your wet ass on the paddling. But that little thing would move and paddle. I never got fatigued in it. I used to cover some water in it, and I always it's not the matter of what you're paddling, it's the matter of catching fish. That's the whole thing, getting on the water, catching fish, having fun. So as far as that, starting out and progressing, as you got into like present time and kayaks you progress through, and any tips or anything you can give to somebody that's going to buy a new kayak as where to kind of start out from your experience and kind of help them go,
Yeah, like for me, so I'm going to get a kayak. I found a used kayak. I drove 4.5 hours up north to pick it up. The Hobie Pro Angler 14 tank, huge tank. I want something stable, something safe. As in the first think the second time I had it out was at night by myself. But I felt confident in that because it's a big kayak. And then moved into now the wilderness with the radars. Got to those. Because I want something lighter, more agile. You can get around stuff. There's any kayaks and get you want to do. For us up here, a lot of it is, I see guys in sit-ins going out where we're fishing in the back bays, tidal waters, boat traffic. You're going to get swamped, which is tough. I mean, you can get in it. For people up here, you have to be in a sit-in because if you get water over you, you're going down.
Yes, yeah, going
and it's tough. A lot of it's comfort level.
Yes,
it's feeling good about it, trying them all out. So my Radar 135 is great because I know how it runs. I know what I can do with it.
Right.
I haven't flipped it over yet. I should to find out.
Yeah.
Back into it.
Get back in. Self rescue. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good subject to bring up too. Is that self rescue? You know, it's always, especially if you're fishing in a, you know, the colder time of year. You got all that gear on, a dry suit and everything. Like for us, we might have on waders, which the waders are making now are sealed with neoprene around the waistline with a belt, and the water won't swamp you as bad. There's somebody that might not know a whole lot and go out there and grab just a pair of, Academy is a sports store down here. They sell, outdoor stuff, but they sell their Magellan brand. They just might go buy a pair of them cheaper waders that would just fill up.
Yep.
And if you don't know that just from not being on the water enough, you're not going to make it back into your kayak because it's going to be 100 pounds of water extra added onto you. So you got to know how to get those off or have a knife on your PFD or have a PFD on. Like here, you're required to have a PFD on the vessel. It doesn't have to be on the person, but we practice like full kayaking safety. I always have my own, being as on a position with Jackson. That's required. In any of our pictures, we're supposed to promote a positive outlook on kayak safety. Correct. And I can't speak about it enough. I mean, I can be in 3 foot of water and I'm still going to have my PFD on. I taught water survival instruction in the Marine Corps. And I still wear my PFD all the time. If that says something about being safe on the water, it does. It should speak volumes to people that are out there. Yes, you never know what's going to happen. The unexpected. Never know.
Won't run over you, anything.
Mm-hmm.
At the least, if something bad happens, where you get hit by a boat, whatever, at least they can find your body.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that's one. Up here, up north with us, once striper season starts in the spring, water's still cold, air is still cold. Everybody's like, I need a kayak. They go out and buy a brand new kayak, spend $2-3 grand on a kayak, get all their gear, out there in sweatpants.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeans. You already spent that much money. Spend the extra $800. You already spent all of it. But they don't know. That's the thing. And
right.
People don't understand that. And with it, one thing, like last year, like I said, everything was getting tight. People weren't buying kayaks. Once the pandemic hit, kayaks are gone. Oh, everybody's got a kayak.
Well, every website you go to now, manufacturer-wise, has it. They increased demand. Pretty much everybody sold through all the inventory they had made already, and then they were running at reduced capacity in their factories. So they still have demand, and the supply is still not there. They got all the new season orders, all the new boats for the next year are starting to come out, and it's kind of wild right now in the kayak industry. I see it. We see it. Everybody's seeing it. You put a nice kayak up on the marketplace and sell it, it's gone. Like 2 days. Yep.
Yes, this spring I saw a lot of brand new guys out there, flip flops, shorts. So
yep.
You go in you're fishing the current. It's crazy. They don't understand what they're getting into before they're getting into it. It's I was going fishing and win a kayak.
There's a lot more to it. There's a whole lot more to it. It's like it's a really quick learning curve. Especially learning that you have to have everything within arm's reach to get to what you need, like your pliers to get the hooks out, your fish grips to get your fish, or your net to get to your rods behind you, where you're gonna have your tackle placed, what all you're bringing with you, where you got your hydration, your water, a little granola bar, or some jerky or something to keep you sustained on the water, because you need all that too, because you're burning energy too. So there's a lot of people that don't know that. I mean, there's people that'll just go buy a pelican out of the store, a little 10-foot or sun dolphin or whatever, and they just, well, I'm gonna go fishing.
Yep.
And then they get out there in the morning, and then you see a group of people, and they're like, they don't have a light, they don't have a 360 light, they don't have PFDs, period. And you're like, you try to talk to them, and then they think you're like being a jerk about it. I'm like, no, man, I'm telling you, the game warden is going to write you a $500 ticket without that stuff. And then you got a chance that you might not make it back to this launch.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, and people always, you know, bad mouth on, you see it on social media. Oh, here's the PFD patrol and this and that. Yep. Well, yeah, you know, whatever. Until you have something happen unexpected, yeah, you might think the other way, but you know, I'm gonna keep mine on, and I'm gonna promote it, positive safety on the kayak, and that's all.
There's no reason not to. There's no reason not to. One of my biggest things is when people say that. My mom is a rescue diver. For a local township. So they go, you need PFD, you don't need all this, blah blah blah. And I tell them, well, look, if you don't wear PFD, something happens to you in the river, whatever, and then you go under. My mom now has to go with her team and try to find you. So now you're putting her at risk trying to find you.
Right. Exactly. And we did have a lot of incidents last year with a couple people getting run over by the boat. You know, people not checking weather conditions. That's a big thing, is checking weather conditions and being familiar with the weather. And that, being a surfer as I grew up, helped me adapt to that too. It's always knowing my I mean, I could go anywhere and stop and get out my car and find out which way is north, south, east, and which way the wind's blowing, and kind of gauge what it's blowing just from being around it all a long time, you know. And that does help in understanding, you know, weather patterns and things like that. Also, because you kind of know, you know, to get out there if a certain situation arises and the wind's going to come up at a certain time of day. You know, give or take, forecast can be off, but it's always good to know that before you get on the water. Definitely.
Yeah. You guys are fishing the Gulf, right? Like, you're more in the Gulf area?
Yes, I'm on the Gulf Coast of Texas. I'm where I work. I can jump out of my truck 3 minutes from driving out where I work. I can leave and fish in like 3 minutes, and that's you know, a bay system with redfish, trout, flounder. Yeah. You know. And Jackville and all them black drum, everything like that in there. So we have a good time. You know, we got a good fishery. We got a bunch of good lakes close. Within 2 hours, I got a bunch of really good bass lakes too. So, you know, I'm on that too. So what about your home bodies of water? What kind of water are y'all fishing over there? Y'all fishing a lot of inlets? Y'all got some backwater areas, tidal estuaries, and everything too?
Most of our area, it's all either inlets, back bays, out in the ocean within 3 miles. For the most part, we got some bass fishing in lakes and stuff, perch, white perch in the rivers. You get black crappie and stuff in the lakes. Some big bass here and there, snake's heads and stuff. More north.
More north.
Yeah, in the areas. But most of the people that fish around here, it's all saltwater or brackish water. It's just so much of it, like it's everywhere. Everywhere. From 20 minutes each way, you just so much water. Yeah.
So you have a lot of creeks and like little tidal areas you can target in. And then you have the inlets and everything also. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of our back bay area said most of the water is a foot deep, 1.5 feet deep, 3 feet deep, but goes half mile to the road.
Yeah. And then what are you targeting back there? Is there some like the summer flounder or the fluke back there?
Summer flounder. Yeah. Early season summer flounder all come back there.
Yeah.
For a while. You can get them all year long. We're getting ready to get into striper season here. It's the same thing. You go all the way in the back bays. It's 4 foot of water, 3 foot of water. The kayaks go back to these little channels, little creeks. Drop down a mouth creek with 20 foot of water.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, you know, usually you throw a weightless jerk bait and up in that curtain. All sitting there waiting for it.
Slam it, huh? Striper too, like good ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I mean, we can catch schoolies all day long.
Yeah.
But then you get right now is when we start getting the bigger ones.
Yeah. You ever target them with top water with like spook, like walking baits and stuff too? Did y'all get some of that top water action on the striper also?
Every now and then I'll throw like a Zuri, crystal minnows and stuff on top of the water.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. But I found most of the ones that I catch that are bigger size are always sitting in the bottom. Just
always hanging out in that deeper water.
Go across, run the sonar, you find somewhere where there's a lump or a chunk there, dirt, and he's just sitting there in the current, just waiting for something to go like this, right over top of his mouth.
Yep. That ambush predator. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of people here that don't take advantage of the fish finder. You know, being that I do fish the bass side of things too, I found over the past few years I've adapted to using my side scan for targeting big speckled trout around the reefs and structure in the wintertime when they move to the deeper water in our boat harbors and stuff like that. I've caught some really, really big speckled trout, like video game fishing with the side scan. Just it's insane because they'll move up into these, just like you said, in the feeder creeks. We got the river estuaries and the bays at the top end of the bays, and they'll move up in those river arms and find the deeper pockets and everything. And you'll find that 20 foot of water off of a 6 foot drop off, and they'll be stacked all up in there. And it's like one after another. And then in the boat harbors, you'll be fishing underneath pylons and pier structure in 15 foot of water. And they'll be staged in there, and you'll be able to pick them off with a big swim bait sometimes in the wintertime.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I've used that to my advantage here the last few years, and taking that, having to relearn that fish finder game, you know, because I hadn't had a fish finder since, you know, I was like in my teen years fishing like local bass trails when I was a young age in Georgia. And then, you know, there was a big gap for me also being in the Marine Corps and moved over here. And then, you know, I would fish plenty, but it wasn't like when I was young, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't
once
targeted,
this kayak craze, you know, started, and it was just like, oh my gosh, it's like addictive. I mean, for real. I like went boom, 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 and then it just, everything's just like domino effect the whole way.
It's crazy. When I first put the kayak, it was just, that was it for me. Like I knew that this is what I do. And it's just, when I first had it, right now I got a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. The 2-year-old's starting getting his rhythm. Wait for him to start doing full night sleep again. Because before that, it was usually 4 nights a week. I'm fishing from 10 o'clock till about 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Every night. Because kids, first day we go to bed, wife goes to bed. It's my fishing time.
Yeah.
Go out, fish for stripers on the bridges and on the lights and everything. Get home at 3 o'clock in the morning. Get up 8 o'clock in the morning, go to work. Turns a week. But that's I couldn't sleep because I know there's fish out there. It's just
right.
It's crazy. It's
well, that's like me. I work a split shift, so I work graveyard some of my sets, and I'm getting off a graveyard shift and fishing 2 or 3 hours before I go home and go to sleep to go back to work.
Yeah,
you know, it's the same thing. If I got time to fish during the week, because a lot of my days fall during the week. You know, my wife's a teacher. My daughter's in school. She's in the 6th grade this year. I have 2 older kids that are away from home. So, you know, I do have the opportunity to go on the weekdays too. Yeah. And that's the cool thing about that. Nighttime, weekdays, there's less boat traffic. There's less people on the water.
There's nobody on the water for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's a cool thing too. The nighttime fishing is really fun here in the summer on the full moon nights when you're working a big walking bait and you just hear that explosion and it's just like, oh.
Yep.
Big speckled trout or big redfish just jacks it, you know. Oh, that's pretty cool. So, you know, we get into that. We're like, you know, I hear you're talking a lot about striper. So would that be one of your favorite species to target? Is that one of them?
That's like one of the most, like, that's the fish I can always go out and catch. I can always go out and catch stripers. Whether they're the little ones or big ones. For me, it's going out catching fish. Like,
just
I don't care.
Fish in general.
They don't got to be 48, 50 inch like trophies. I just want to go out there, relax, clear my mind, not think about anything, and just fish.
Just fish.
Got one thing about kayaks.
It is a good mental relief, you know, a good stress relief. You know, I'd surfed and skateboarded my whole life, and that was more of aggression, tear it up, but it was still my release. It was my release to get that, same thing. I met super cool people and just the scene and just being around your friends. And that's what I found with kayak fishing is that it's just that community, man. It's just been awesome. It's just like me. I don't know you from a bag of bones, man. And I just messaged you out of the blue because I saw you on a YouTube episode. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna get this guy on my podcast and we're gonna talk. And that's what's cool about kayak fishing is that, this the camaraderie. That's what I found, and what drawn me into it even more was all of the friendships I've made through this so far is really cool. And I mean just talking about fishing. I can talk about fishing all day.
There's no with kayak stuff. Like there's no measuring. There's very few egos.
There's a few, but
like
for the most part,
Like when as I was getting into it more, I met a bunch of guys, different teams, different companies, doing little tournaments. Oh, here, come meet up with us. Come out, hang out with us. Completely different companies. Like there's like they're trying to win tournaments or win the little. It's all local stuff for us, but still it's money. And like, oh, let's go fish together. Like there's you have just as good chances as I do, but let's go have fun. And it's just it's everybody helping everybody out. Not trying to run people over.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get that exactly. That's the same thing. The bass tournaments too. I've always been open. What'd you catch them on? I'll tell you exactly what I caught them on. I'll tell you exactly how I did it, and I'll tell you the general area. I might not tell you exact location.
Yeah.
We had a tournament this past weekend. It was a four trout stringer. But one of the buddy who's the operational guy was like, "You gonna talk about that on your podcast?" Nicholas, what's up? I just had him on my last episode. And I was like, man, it's a 2.5 hour drive to the weigh-in, because you could fish any of the Texas waters. And I took my chance and I fished my home waters. And I was the only person to squeak out a 4-fish limit that day out of 70 anglers. I didn't win first. I got second, but still, it's all about grinding out. And it's all about that. And they're like, well, where'd you catch? I told them, well, I fished my home waters, Port Lavaca, where I fish all the time. It's just what I'm used to doing. And I went, and it was a weird bite. It was real light bites, and I upgraded a couple fish in like the last hour fishing because I went out and found deep water structure and found the fish and pulled 2 decent trout out, and it helped me out. It definitely put me in that money spot, So it was just like, But everybody, they want to know, well, what'd you catch? I'll tell you, this is what I caught them on. This is where I caught them. Might not give you exact area, but, I'm always game to share info and help whoever I can, especially new people coming out. There's so many groups on Facebook popping up here and there with all these people starting their own little clubs and everything like that, having their own little tournaments and online stuff. I mean, in Texas, it's huge. I mean, it is huge. I mean, it's blown up big time. So are you seeing that over there too? It's getting big too over there.
It's getting bigger here, getting bigger and bigger. So I'm seeing more and more new people all the time. And same thing. It's like just going up to them like, hey, letting him like just talking to him later, see him on the beach, make sure like let him know like it's nice out now, but if you go in the water, like just know that this could happen or that could happen or do this, do that. I did a seminar with the local fishing club last week, going over things, just telling them things that I think is normal that they don't even think about. Like me, for us up here, it's like we use, like I said, use a Zuri crystal minnow. Mm-hmm. All my treble hooks, I crush them all the barbs. Because in kayaks up here, like it's in the current, you get stuck with a hook in your hand here, hook in your leg here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You gotta pull them things out.
Yeah. Get them out quick.
Yeah. Just little, like it's little things. It's definitely community. It's definitely a strong community, which I like.
And share the little tips and tactics. Like same thing here with launching at the beach here to go target we got short rigs like oil rigs that are within 3-4 miles of the beach, so we can drive on the beach and launch. So all your rods are usually strapped down. You don't usually have any lures on them. You got them in bags sealed up because you don't want to be tumped over and have all them hooks hooked all over you.
All over, yep.
And the same thing in the back bays. You're not dealing with the waves, but all my rods are behind me on my on my crate. This company called Yak Gadget has a really cool crate out now that it fits right behind the seat. It's got an angle down, so all my boxes fit in there. My battery fits right in front of it, and so I got all my rods lined up, and they're all usually strung up a little bit higher, you know, with the lures and everything. So I'm not reaching back and getting hooks in my hand, you know, when I'm reaching back. You know, but I really like to organize my rods. I usually have at least 2 rods in front of me. Like I'm throwing a top water, and I either got like a 1/8 ounce jig head with a screw lock with a little swim bait, little imitation shrimp or something, so I can follow up if they're short striking that top water. I can follow up back in there and rip out a fish with them too. So that's what we were going to get into a little bit about some tackle box confessional. Some of your favorite stuff, you know, all around tackle that we'll find in your box, you know, pretty much any trip that you're going to be on. Anytime you're going on the water, what's some of the go-tos, so you say, the go-to lures you're going to have with you?
So usually, if I'm going out, which is the hardest part of the kayak fishing too, you're going to go out, I want to go out shoot and fish for flounder. So you have your flounder jigs set up. But, well, what if I'm going to here and I see striper? So you have this set up for stripers. You have all this, a whole lot of thing. But I always have one rod with a swim bait on it, or a swim, like a storm shed.
Yeah.
Like a storm shed on it. I make my own jig heads. I do my own jig heads. So I'll have those set up for different weights between 1/2 ounce, 3/4. So if I'm going from one spot to another, I can just grab a rod, drop in, like golf clubs. People like where we're at, people buy their boats. Like, look at this guy in a kayak. He's like, what the hell is going on? He's got like 6 rods in the back. And it's people that only have 6 rod holders.
Yeah. Yes. I'm the same way. You know, everybody's like, well, why don't you only have a couple rods? Well, I'll tell you this. I got that top water. Actually, I got 2 different colored top waters. I got a smaller one in a one knocker. I got a jig head. I got a popping cork with an imitation shrimp. Then I might have a chatterbait. And I might even have a frog. Dude, I throw frogs to redfish all the time in the grass. When at the higher tides, when they're up in the grass pushing shrimp. What else are you going to throw in there? You throw a weedless fluke in there, you throw a frog in there. You throw a frog in there, you're going to slam it. It's fun. It's fun. I've actually caught a flounder on a popping frog, throwing it back in there, a shad-colored one. I've caught trout on them. I've caught trout on chatterbait. Caught flounder on a chatterbait.
Flounders will eat anything.
They will eat anything. But so yeah, you got you're I'm gonna put you on the spot though. You got 3 rods to take with you. Pick 3. 3 rods. What's it going to be? You know, the setup, bait caster, spinning reel, spinning rod, setup, and then what's the baits that are going to be on those 3 rods?
The same thing. That I was out trying to go fishing for stripers. I have 3 rods. They're all 3/4 ounce rods. I started using the Daiwa Saltus rods a couple years ago. They got real short butts on them, which I like for the kayak. Light action, fun. But they skin. I mean, I pulled in 43-inch striper on a 1 ounce Daiwa rod with a conventional reel. They can beat this fish down.
Oh yeah.
I've started doing more conventional, like more bait caster rods, just to get used to that. Like I got to the point now where it's comfortable. The hardest thing for guys is shooting the bait caster rods, get them dialed in. Like you're like, oh, they're in a bird nest and all that. Unless you're doing something weird or it goes crazy.
Yeah.
That control is just nice. I can literally close my eyes and throw it, and just get it right in that spot.
Yep. Yeah. So that's what I throw mainly, and a lot of people, like in South Texas, use a lot of spinning tackle. I do have a couple spinning rods, like when I throw a smaller. We have a company here called Bugs that makes some little jigs that are like a weighted fly, almost looks like a weighted fly, and the redfish and flounder crush them. So I use that. It's a little lighter action with 15-pound braid and 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. Or when I'm throwing that crusty crab, that little crab imitation, side casting the redfish and sheephead, I'll use that too. But most of the time I'm throwing bait caster on a 6.9 medium action rod with an extra fast tip, something I can feel those light bites with, and it's still got to get a good hook set, but it's still got plenty of backbone to fight those redfish, because redfish are brutes. You know, they're known for being strong, and they're known for the long runs they make when you first hook them up, and giving you the runaround. So you got to have something to get around and move around and position yourself in the kayak, as they're running the other way behind you or flipping underneath your drive system and all that good kind of stuff. So, there's a rod for everything, out there. We have so much to choose from anyways,
Yes, it's all about what you like, what feels in your hands. And for me, the dye was just because the butts on them are only about a few inches, which is nice. It's anything extra in your way. Same thing. They're fast action. The tip, it's super sensitive. So same thing when I fish the stripers. I can cast up in a current, and I can feel it tapping off the bottom. And as soon as I feel it hitting the bottom, I know, okay, that's from that point, I can start just going like this and work it up, feel everything. Same thing as, like I said, if it was 3 rods, daytime would be same thing, a swim shad, one of my jig heads, Bustin' Baits. I use their jerk baits. I don't know if you guys have them down there or not. They're guys out of Maryland. Nice jerk bait.
Bustin' Baits?
Bustin' Baits.
Yeah.
It's like a jerk shad with it's got like a segment inside of it, and it got some nice action to them.
Oh, cool.
And so I use them with my jig heads that I make. And then I'll use the guy up by us, Dan Schaefer, started doing these bottom sweeper jigs. I'm not sure if you guys use them down there or not. He designed them they're designed for crabs, little Asian crabs or fiddler crabs.
Uh-huh.
Like a little banana-shaped jig head.
Light. I've heard of them. Yes. And you use them to hook the little fiddlers on and bounce them.
Yep. So you throw them, for us, we go in the jetties and just throw them in the jetties. Use a 1/4 ounce light. So it just flops around in the water in the current.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We get our tog, sheep's head.
The tog. That's what I'm going to say. Y'all got a tog around there, too. Those are definitely good eating fish, too. Pretty white meat, just like a sheephead.
Oh, God. Yep. Really good.
Buttery, sweet tasting fish, man. Look what they eat. They eat crabs and crustaceans. Yep. They're going to taste like what they eat. Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Pretty stuff. Like, I'll clean sheepheads all day long, man. There's a certain way to clean them. You get it down. It's not as hard as you think. You just got to be careful for the gill plates and the dorsal fins. But, man, that's some of the prettiest white meat, man. Whew.
Oh, it's clean. Just clean.
Yeah, it's clean stuff. Man, I like them. Hey, how long you been working on them dreads, man?
10 years, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
My hair is probably about this long, and I've had them a few different times. I hear about this long. Yeah. Like, you know what? Let's go to do what it does. This is what it does by itself. It just grows out this way.
That's awesome, man. I had them for the longest time when I had hair. And then one of my good buddies over here, Jeff Isham, he's a solid stick over here on the bass side of things. I've met him at some tournaments, on the bass side of the things, and he's done really well too. But he's got a big old head of dreads too, and I'm always like envious because I know I used to have that before I lost mine and went crazy. It's just like, man, I miss them days when I had my natties, man. I miss them. I don't know though.
Down to the point where it's like I can't cut them. Just let it just keep going and going and
going.
Let
them go, man. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you check him out too. He's got what's his dreadlocks and treble hooks. That's his Instagram.
I'll check that out.
Jeff Isham, give him a shout. He's a cool dude too. That's how I met him, through kayak fishing. So just like we said, that camaraderie and meeting everybody. That was one of the cool cats I've met too, man. We've had some good trips together and had some good times on the water too, man. I'd love to make it up there.
It's
the Northeast again one day. I've been up there surfing. I've surfed. I had some contests up there back in the day, and had some good times up there. I'd like to check out. If I could fish anywhere, I love to fish. Anywhere I can go and get on the water.
Anytime I come up here, let me know.
Oh yeah, you might never know.
The biggest thing right now is we're supposed to close on our house on June 22nd. Buyer's financing fell through, so now we restarted everything again. Half my stuff's packed up. He said usually I'm making jig heads right now, but I can't even make jig heads, so all my gear's packed up and all my stuff's in storage.
Oh man,
it's crazy.
Well, yeah, this year's been a one-off anyways with all this COVID mess, and everything going on. And that's the thing about traveling. It was there's a couple events I had planned on going this year, and it's just like it just didn't work out. We had a big long outage at work, You know, I actually had the virus myself, and I was out of work for 22 days. It wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't get hit with it hard like some people did, I guess. I got lucky. But it was just the inconvenience and being locked in a room and you know, not being around the family, so the family don't get it, you know. So, you know, and that's the thing. There's so much that this year kind of got is a one-off, man. Big time. You know, there's still some events going on, but I didn't get to travel like I wanted to this year, and I had all intentions of going pretty big on the bass side of things, and then we have quite a few trails here that didn't even kick off on the saltwater side. So, you know, I'm ready for it. You know, that's a good thing though. Even though we are in this pandemic and all this stuff, we're still able to get on the water. That's all that matters to me. As long as I can get outside, get on the water, and social distance.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. I mean, there's times I'm on the water. I'm in the back lakes and everything, and you can't get a boat back there. You know, so if you're not in an airboat, you're not getting back there. And I won't see anybody but the hogs, the deer, and the alligators.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things for me too, like kayak fishing. Like it's with the family now and everything in sport. Like I just want to get out by myself. I don't. Anytime I tell somebody, all right, I'm gonna go fishing. I'm gonna be down the beach at 4 a.m. Let's go. Get down there. I'm ready to go. Everything's loaded up at 3:45.
Yeah.
5 o'clock to show up. I'm like, no, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm already on the water. Like it's just getting out there.
Catch up if you can.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I like to have my stuff ready to go, and I'm on the water when I say I am. You know, it's like, all right, man. If you're not here when I'm launching, I'm gone. You know,
I'm usually I'll be in bed at 11 o'clock, laying in bed going, is it 3 yet? Is it 3 yet? Is it 3 yet?
Yeah, trying to wake
3
up.
o'clock, go down, grab bait, be on the beach, be out by 4:30. I'm setting times on tides, when the tide's going to go. Go this here, this way. I get to this spot here, get ready for this.
So y'all play a lot more. Y'all are more dependent on the tides. I know we're not as dependent. I mean, I do go by my tidal movement, but there's times where we don't have a whole lot, so you really got to find that wind-blown shoreline or that point that wind's blowing around in this wind-driven current that actually will stir the fish up too. So with the bigger tidal swings over there, y'all are more dependent on that. It seems like.
Yeah. When I go out, if I'm either going to launch from all the way in the back of the bay or up by the inlet, depending on which way the tide's going. So I can at least have the tide take me back this way and come back that way. I spent so many times where I got to go about 1.5 miles, 2 miles against the tide with the wind in my face, just laying on my kayak, just pedaling. It's like nonstop for an hour. And it's crazy.
you use it to your advantage when you can, right? Yeah. Use the wind and the tide to your advantage. Yeah, I will plan that too as far as the wind, because we get a lot of prevalent southeast winds here, a lot of sea breeze winds, and 15, 17 miles an hour, and you're like, well, what do I want to do? Well, you're gonna get on the water early and beat that wind, kind of fish around into those south shorelines, and then use that wind to come back in the afternoon, or when you're done, 11, 12 o'clock right before lunchtime, So that's a big plus too, because just like I said, we don't have those, giant swings in the tide. We get a 1 or 2 foot tidal swing most of the times. Nothing like 4 to 6 foot. I think that's probably or 7, 8 foot sometimes up there, right?
Yeah, if we're fishing Manasquan, like I had 2 friends of mine that I go up there with, and it's just like we'll follow the tide out. Tide switches, come back in, but it's still going out for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just narrow. You can go out, it's all nice, come back, and it's 4 to 6.
Yeah.
With boats going through, and it gets crazy. Same with our surf launches.
Yeah.
Like you launch out, it's going to be 1 to 2 with like 10-second intervals.
Yeah.
Go through it. Look at your phone. Oh yeah, it just changed, and now it's 3 to 4. 6 seconds.
It's 6 or 7, a little tighter together, a little stacked up more. Yep.
Yeah, come back in. If you're not coming through the inlet, it's just you're flipping.
Well, then you got the waves coming in from offshore, and the tide's going out pulling against them, so that stacks them up even more. You know, yeah, stuff over here you got to think about too. We got some longshore and nearshore currents that affect stuff too. Same here when we're launching around the jetties and everything.
Inlets aren't like our inlet. It's not that bad here because it's probably 600 yards, maybe something like that.
Oh yeah, but Manasquan's a lot smaller.
Manasquan's probably maybe 100 yards. It's tight.
Oh, it's tight, huh?
Yeah,
we got a couple like that in Corpus Christi Pack Channel. The Port Aransas jetties is pretty big, waterway. But there's giant. That's where all the giant oil tankers and everything come in at. So you get swamped pretty good there if you're not paying attention. Yep. Oh yeah. But man, it's definitely different. You know, comparing waters here, waters in Louisiana, the way they're fishing, just all over it. Everybody's got their own little different region, has their different styles and ways to fish and different fish. Just like the tautogs y'all have, we don't have those over here. That'd be something really cool to go catch one of those. Definitely.
They're fun. They fight. They put up a little bit. Like you get a 13-inch tog. You think, oh, I got a nice keeper.
Yeah.
It's just a little baby.
Oh yeah.
You said you guys have oil rigs and that kind of stuff.
Offshore,
like
yes. Yeah.
First Atlantic City, you go off. In Atlantic City here, you got to go 6-7 miles out to hit any wrecks.
Yes, they hit hit all the wrecks and rock piles and stuff. Yeah.
Manasquan, we got maybe half miles out. Start getting some structure and stuff, which is nice. Cool. So for me, I don't get unless I go up north. Or like I said, I don't get the fish that structure. That's what's tough.
Yeah, they're not having the structure, or if you don't have the right numbers and coordinates to get on those wrecks, that's like here. They're up and down the beach. There is some nearshore wrecks you can find. If you stumble upon them, or if you got an old salt that gave you some old numbers, they're usually pretty good. Like you can catch the snapper within a half mile, half mile or so out. Sometimes if there's a wreck nearby, and then we had a lot of we've had some milder winters and stuff, so we've had a lot of mangrove snappers move up into the inshore estuaries, and so you catch 12, 13-inch mangroves, and you can have a good little mess of them too, and they'll readily hit jig heads with soft plastics also. So yeah, that's a cool little thing, that you little smorgasbord of fish you can kind of look into out here, because there's days you can go out and you catch a 5 trout, you have your 3 redfish, you'll have a couple black drum, you'll have a couple snapper, you have a couple sneakhead on the stringer, and it's like, good grief, I'm dragging all these fish back. Not all the time. I'm not going to keep all those fish, but you could,
Could, yeah.
You could, but yeah, I'll keep a couple trout. I'll keep a couple redfish. I like to bring some home to the family. They enjoy the fish tacos and then doing the redfish on the half shell and all that good stuff. So, it's always, fresh fish is tough to beat. That's one of the bonuses we get from being on the water a lot is we have that.
Yeah, exactly.
That fresh fish we can bring home and eat.
So how for you guys down there? How are the sharks?
I see them all the time.
Because for us,
they like to steal your. They like to eat your trout off the stringer here.
Yeah, I used to use the stringers all the time, my flounder, until they get ripped off by the sharks. Like back in our back bays, we get brown sharks.
Yeah, in the back bays we got them. 4 or 5 foot black tips. Yep. We got bull sharks that come in and out sometimes. And offshore, you got to deal with. I run a fish bag when I go offshore. And I run a fish bag a lot when I'm bringing a fish home, but for redfish tournaments, we got to bring them in alive, or you lose a half pound of fish, so you can release them. So we have a live well at the truck in a cooler, ready to go. But, we got these cold clip stringers, and you drag them behind the kayak, and there's a lot of alligators where we like to fish for redfish normally, and they'll be nosing around, following you around too, and they'll try to come up and eat them off your stringer with you right there. I mean, the little stubborn.
They don't care.
The 5-6 footers are stubborn. They're so stubborn.
They don't care.
But not a lot of sharks back there in that brackish water. But in the bays where I'm out fishing for trout on the flats and stuff, you'll see some black tips and some bonnet heads. Some people, ooh, that's a hammerhead. It's like a shovel nose. Yeah, shovel nose bonnet head. Yeah, we get a lot of those too.
That's what
a lot of stingrays, a lot of cow nose rays, and and just stingrays and stuff too. So when you're wading, you definitely got to pay attention and shuffle your feet and do that, especially this time of year. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, but the one thing I started doing this last 2 years was a cooler bag for my kayaks. They were in the cooler bag. Yeah. That's the other thing for me is that if I'm going 2 miles back to my launch against the tide,
you don't want to be dragging
there,
fish.
Mouth opened up, it's extra work.
It's just like a drag. They're making all that drag on you. Same thing. Yeah. Yeah. I run a fish bag on the front a lot of times, and plus, when those waves, it adds a little weight on the front. If you got an ice block in there or something, a couple 2-liter bottles filled with water, frozen, it lasts you all day. And it adds a little bit of weight up on the front to get your nose down. The paddle's easier. You're not all planed up. You're playing down and you're against them waves, and you can move a little better if you're paddling. I like to paddle a lot. But, man, I will tell you, I've been burning that Torpedo up, man. I use it on my U-Pick, and I've been running that all over the marsh, man. It's good to go back there. See, I usually just used to use it on I got a big rig with the flex drive for the bass tournaments, and I would, that's the main reason I got it for the bass tournaments. And, a lot of our saltwater events actually started allowing electric motors this year. We have 2 of our 3 trails started allowing electric motors, which is really cool. So, and scouting, as far as scouting new water and running to different places, that thing's been a big advantage. Yeah. In the tournament this last weekend, if I wouldn't have been able to use that motor to get out to the bridge I fished, the paddle would have been insane, or the pedal, it would have been a pretty long run, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles each way.
Like when I was doing the Maryland tournament, there was one spot going through to the bridge, another spot. There was called the toilet bowl. It was a big whirlpool. Everything's probably about 6 foot deep.
Yeah.
There was a hole by 50, and it just swirled around.
Oh, man.
I was going to get the tide. I'm like, instead of my radar, I'm just pedaling. Like, okay, I got to get through this. And just pedal. There's a guy next to me just going back. I see him. I could just imagine his head. He's going, what the hell's going on? Like, how is he going through this? Here I find out this was his 3rd time trying to get through that spot.
Oh, man.
Pedaling through it. And he just gave up. He's like, no, I was waiting until the tide changes.
Yeah. Oh, dang.
I can't imagine.
Just pushing it around like crazy.
You're getting torpedoes and stuff. Like a lot of guys are getting torpedoes now. They're all getting the torpedoes, put them on their kayaks just to get from point A to point B to fish. Instead of wasting an hour and a half, an hour going this way, an hour going that way. Yeah.
Oh, it's a big
spot you want to fish and just fish.
It's a big advantage. I mean, especially covering water, and if you have a launch that's out away from a lot of things, you can get, with that bigger battery, I can get 14, 15 mile range as long as it'll peg it out, and then if you have an extra battery, and some people even they have an extra battery with them, and you're looking at 25 mile range, if you have the time to do it at 5.5 miles an hour. So, it's been a plus, it's been a plus to be able to run one of those, man, that's cool, man. I'm glad I got you to come on to the segment, man, and chat a little bit about this Northeast area up there in Jersey. Y'all Iaconelli fans?
Yeah.
Like I said, lab mouth.
Like I said, we're getting ready. Like flounder's done. Our summer flounder's done this Saturday. So now everybody's getting ramped up for stripers.
Yeah. Get ready to go.
Go up north, go to Manasquan, find schools of bunker, snag bunker, drop them down, catch the big stripers.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully the whales don't knock you over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they just getting ready for that season change. That's us. We're still having days in the mid 90s. We're still pretty warm, and we're dealing with all these hurricanes around here. And
oh, Jesus.
It's been a crazy season. There's all kind of waves, man. The swell's been insane.
Imagine.
I don't know if you follow. There's a surfer kid on YouTube. His name's Ben Gravy. He surfs a lot there in Atlantic City. He surfs a lot there. There's a place called oh man, what's that place called? I can't even remember what it's called. I know he surfs a lot around
he lives like probably 10 minutes from me.
Oh, right on, man. Yeah. He's got a good thing going too. Yep. Oh, that spot. He calls it El Slamo.
El Slamo.
Yeah, and he's been surfing
Yeah.
a little right point break that's inside of an inlet that looks like really, really fun. You know,
The last couple of days was crazy. Like I have guys that I know that are walking out like, man, I'm not going out today.
yeah, there's been
Couple
solid
days,
waves because
it's-
there's so many storms stacked up. Y'all are getting swell from like two or three different storms out there. The way it's pushing in, and it's been pretty solid over there. It's long period stuff, but it's still you're not launching and going offshore with 7-8 foot,
Yeah.
barrels out the back. No,
Yeah.
you're not getting around that, man. But yeah, El Slamo. Yeah, old Ben
Yeah,
Gravy.
same thing for
He's
me.
got some good content. I watch a lot of his stuff, man. Because I surfed my whole life. I haven't really, I don't really do it like I used to do it. Like I was all into it. Now it's the kayak fishing just taking over. That's basically what happened.
I grew up racing dirt bikes,
Yep.
and then between practice, like we ride every day, practice every day. Then from 3 to dark, we go surfing every day.
Yep.
Back in like 90s, whatever it was.
Yeah. Yep.
Back in the point break days where
Yeah.
if somebody come over and you cut their leash and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was a little more aggro back then.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
locals.
Localism in the house. You don't get a lot of that in the kayak world. You got some people that kind of keep their spots on lock and stuff. But with so much stuff out there right now, Google Earth and YouTube and all the social media stuff, it's all instantaneous, man. So it's if you're willing to do some research, you can find some spots to get away from people.
Yes. You're posting a photo. That's a spot burn.
Yeah.
Dude, there's 10 spots to fish. It's not a spot burn.
Yeah.
There's really there's
Burning thing. Yep. I just post what I just like to. I like to fish. So if I catch something nice, I'm taking pictures every now and then, getting a little content here and there, and I got to represent a fruit company, so it's good to get some stuff and show them what you're doing. So hey, with that note, man, I'm gonna try to wrap up. We're about to hit an hour here. Been rolling right along. So man, I'm gonna give you the stage to do some shout outs. If you got some people that support you or anybody you want to thank or shout out, man, here you go. It's all yours, brother.
Well, the biggest person that people shout out is my wife and kids for letting me do this. Because it's family support, knowing that you're going to fish, be out there all night, hoping. I get it all the time. Just be careful. I'll be fine.
Yeah. My wife's the same way. Yep.
But other than that, Wilderness Systems, Tackle Direct, Ram Mounts, Daiwa, Lowrance, Bustin' Baits, Go Fish Cams, all these guys like that gave me a chance and help support me so I can do this. And that's the biggest thing you can do. Like, it's just having that support is great.
Yes, especially from companies that helped you out or you've been with all along, and they know you've trusted in their products, and now you're part of them. And it's awesome when you've used a product and stood behind it way before they've asked you to come on board, which is like, exactly. Yeah, man, and that's the way it should be. It's like, I'm not glorifying this pro staff badge of honor thing or whatever, but some people just like, well, I'm on this and I'm on that. No, I like it when you earn it, when you have used their products, they're tried and true to you. And, that's how I feel. You're that way too. You stand by what you represent. And that's a big deal in being true to what you're doing in this.
People think too
in this kind of thing.
People think, oh yeah, you're giving you all this stuff. No, they ain't giving us. Like, I'm not. We're not getting paid by these companies. We're promoting these companies. They're helping us out. And we're helping them out, and that's what the thing is. And it's just doing that. Like, I'm waiting for my new kayak to come out now. Like, Wilderness has their new Recons coming out. Recon 120.
Yep.
I ordered that in March, but everything got shut down. So hopefully it's coming here the next couple of days. To get on that thing. I can't wait to get on that thing.
Oh, I bet. We got we don't have a new fishing boat coming out for 2021. We are doing some changes and stuff here and there. on the Jackson side of things, but I'm looking forward to seeing what we got coming around. We'll be making a comeback. It's been kind of this year's been a one-off.
It's been tough.
Just time to regroup, refocus on the fishing.
Yep.
You can't be. We came out with quite a few boats this year. We had the U-Pick, the Bite FD, and the Kilroy HD. So I know we got a couple new things coming out next year for the 2021 season. And but I think our breakout year coming around will probably be 2022. I'm hoping so. Hoping we're gonna knock something out of the park. Yeah, it's. Oh yeah.
It was with last year. Before all this pandemic thing happened, things were getting tight. I've seen people dropping off teams and all this.
Yeah.
Like somebody's getting worried.
Yeah.
Once this thing hit, it's like there's nothing left. There's no kayaks left.
There's no kayaks. Yeah, we were.
They're gone.
Are we still even going to be on the team?
Yeah.
Is this still going to be going on? And then all the kayaks are gone. And it's like, because I know I saw the recon at ICAST last year, 19. Yeah. And then it's just now really about to hit the market now. So that shows you how much some stuff is affected. A lot of logistics were affected by this pandemic.
Yep.
Parts come from everywhere. It might be put together here, but you're getting parts from Taiwan, Japan, and other places too. Malaysia, who knows? It's coming from a lot of different places. And the whole logistics of it got jacked up by this corona. So yeah, man. Thanks for coming on tonight, man. I appreciate you jumping on and getting to know you a little better myself, and all the listeners out there. I hope y'all enjoyed this segment. And we thank everybody for listening, and we'll catch y'all the next time around. Woo.
See you later.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. TRC Covers, protect your investment. Ketch Products, shout out to Ketch Products. Go to ketchproducts.com and put the Paddle and Fin logo directly on your catch board. Shout out to JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com, use promo code PNF20 and save 20% on all your jig and tackle needs.